Right then, we have my next special guest joining me on my show now. Singer-songwriter, many strings to a bow. We have Rosanna Lefevre. Welcome to my show.
Hello,
Nice to have
how
you
are
on
you
board.
doing?
I'm good. How's yourself?
Yeah, I'm really good. The weather's quite hot for England at the moment, so just a bit hot and bothered. But no, other than that, I'm absolutely fine. Thank you.
And you're a fellow West Midlander in my neck of the
I
woods.
am. I am.
And we've just had the Commonwealth Games, so all good things happening for our region lately.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I catched or caught the end of the Commonwealth Games last night, and it was amazing to see Aussie back in his hometown, Birmingham. But yeah, fellow West Midlands person.
So, Rosanna, what do you think that the Birmingham music scene? Do you think it's making a comeback? Good to see that it's vibrant again.
I think so. I think music is a huge part of Birmingham, and as we've seen with the Commonwealth Games, there's quite a lot of diversity in the area. So loads of different bands, loads of different genres of singers coming out of Birmingham. But yeah, hopefully, I really do think that music's on the comeback. I mean, we're struggling at the moment just because of the pandemic and COVID and how that hit us. But hopefully, I think music is coming back, and it's going to be a big part, especially the live scene, because we haven't had it for so long. Um, it's coming back, hopefully, and people will support.
It's good to see many venues open up as well. Open mic nights, live music as well. People investing
Yeah.
in that department. So Rosanna, you're a singer songwriter and you do other musical things as well. Um,
Hmm.
we were recommended by a mutual friend who got me in touch with you, and going to touch about your the music you have done. You've recorded a few tracks, which we'll go on to. I was going to ask, how long have you been in the music industry? And an additional question to that, was it always something you wanted to get into, or did it just naturally come to you?
Mm. Well, I guess professionally, I've been in the industry since I was probably about 18. Now, I guess unprofessionally, it started way before then. So, songwriting is my main thing, as you've just mentioned. I've been doing that since I was so young. And I don't really know who I got it off, really. I think my house is quite musical, but nobody ever wrote songs. But yeah, so I started off songwriting from the age of about 12, like literally that young. I started having drum lessons when I was about that age as well. And just a pastime. And it's always been a form of self expression for me, rather than sitting down and writing to a brief, which I have done as well. But, when I was first getting started, when I was about 12, I just literally sat down at a piano and just used to write my emotions and start singing and writing songs that way. But yeah, so professionally, I would say from about 18, I started just gigging around the country, gigging around UK. And then since then, I've worked in kind of function bands, party bands, kind of gigging as an individual artist as well. Not so much the past few years. And in original bands too, so various original bands of various levels. Um, my most recent one being like a progressive rock band from Birmingham, which I left this year, actually, earlier this year. So I've done various different avenues, I guess. But yeah, since professionally, since about 18 years old, and then non professionally from a very young age, I guess. Yeah.
Great. And let's go on to your music now. You sent me some tracks. I've received. We have like a Karma, and that's the name of the track. Silver Lining Desert. Sorry, Silver Lining, then Desert of the Sea.
Hmm.
I listened to the Silver Lining and Desert of the Sea. They're very calming, laid back tracks.
They are, yeah. A lot of people say that, to be fair. And I think a lot of that has to do with not only my influences, but my voice as well. So everybody comments on how, I don't know how to explain it. The tone of my voice is very rich, a bit like Karen Carpenter. Um, and everybody comments on that. Sorry, that was my email. If you heard that going off, I'll shut that off. Um, but yeah, everybody comments on my tone, and I think that has an impact on how relaxing my music is. And the tracks that I've released so far, other than Karma, which is a little bit more upbeat, they do have a very laid back, stripped back vibe to them. And I think that really does suit my vocal style, really. And then obviously I'm working on an album too. So the ones that you've just mentioned, the singles that I've been releasing over the past couple of years, and that's building up to an album that I've been working on for years now. COVID had a bit of a hit because the producer that I work with, Miguel Seiko, in Birmingham, he lives in Portugal half the time and half the time in Birmingham. And obviously during the pandemic, he wasn't around, so I carried on writing, but we couldn't actually work on the album. But now that he's back, it's all in full force. We've been working on it again for the past 6 months. And I'm looking to release probably around the end of the year, maybe start of next year. It just depends on how much I've got left to do and each other's availability and things like that. But yeah, very relaxing stuff. But the album will be possibly a little bit more upbeat. There are some sparser tracks on it that have a similar vibe to the others, but other tracks have got full band on, so guitar, drums, bass, so they're a little bit more fuller. So yeah.
Very busy then, and doing something you enjoy. Not many people can say they can do that.
Yeah, I mean, my other kind of avenue that I have gone down as well, which is a source of income for me, is higher education. So I'm a lecturer at a higher education provider called Rosannas. So I'm basically a teacher there, a lecturer there. And it's something that I'm very passionate about and something that I enjoy too. And obviously that's still related to music. So I am lucky in the sense, I'm not a full-time songwriter, I'm not a full-time performer as such. I'm kind of here, there and everywhere doing bits and bobs, but that keeps it interesting, and quite a lot of the jobs in the industry at the moment do need that, you know, that versatility and that flexibility to do a bit of everything, because it's not often that you'll get your main source of income from one thing. So that's what I do.
Brilliant. So you mentioned an album is in the pipeline, and do you think you'll go out on tour, on the road, you know, plugging it?
Well, I haven't actually performed any of my tracks live yet. I think it's something that's definitely in the pipeline. When that will happen, I'm not sure. I know plenty of musicians that have said, you know, I'll be in your band if you want me to be. And obviously once I get to that point, you know, there are a few names that I'd like to approach and say, would you like to be a part of the live band and do a bit of a tour? So it's something that I'm thinking of. It's not something that I'm currently full on focusing on. The first thing that I'm going to focus on obviously is finishing the album. And then definitely I think in the pipeline, creating a band to go out and perform the material live is something that, you know, it's a goal of mine, but it's not a focus for me at the moment. But it will be fantastic to get out there and get out on the road and perform it live. I mean, who wouldn't want to do that?
so in good time and when the time is right.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
What do you like being about an independent artist?
So this is like a Pandora's box, I suppose, because years ago, I guess in the 70s, the main goal that everybody had, the musicians and songwriters had, was, right, I'm going to go to London and get signed and have the support of a label. And labels still have an importance in the industry, but it's definitely evolved and it's definitely changed. So there's a positive and negative to being independent. I guess the positives are you're in full control of everything. Your name is on everything. You know, you have full control, and that's something that I like. Now, the negative of that is you have to fund it all yourself, whereas the label would fund it for you, and you'd come to some kind of agreement. And obviously the connections and things like that a label can provide if it's the correct label. And also, I guess it's a relationship that you've got with the label. So I would never say no to a label, you know, straight off the bat, but I'd need to know that they have my interests as well as me having interest in them. You know what I mean? So it's not just a one-way street. The industry's, like I say, it's evolved. So you can do a lot of the things yourself now, but the things that you gain with a label is, I guess, connections and the funding, which eventually you'd have to pay back anyway. So yeah, I do enjoy being an independent artist. There's a certain freedom with it, and for me, it's always been about expression. It's always been about just getting it out for me rather than having a huge following. Don't get me wrong, it would be amazing if I did, and maybe one day I will. Um, but yeah, so there's positives and negatives to it, I suppose. But I do enjoy being an independent artist. But I would never say no to being signed by a label either if the right one approached me with the right, relationship in mind.
And where can people check you out? I know you have your socials and an official website as well.
Yeah, so I've got my website, which is www.rosannalefevre.com. So it's a bit of a funny last name. We was just talking about it, wasn't we? So it is my real last name. So people often say, "Oh, that's a good one. Have you made that up yourself?" And I'm like, "No, it's not my actual name." So how you spell that is Lefevre. And that's Lefevre, so rosannalefevre.com, and you can basically reach anywhere on my socials from that website. But I'm also on YouTube. I also use Instagram. I've got a new public Instagram that I'm building at the moment. I have got Twitter, but I don't use it as much. And YouTube, I'm going to start uploading a few more videos because it has been quiet for the past how many months because of, again, COVID and things like that, and costs of making music videos and whatever. But there should be plenty more to go on there soon. So yeah, that's where they can find me.
Ace, and a couple more questions to close the interview. Where in the world is closest to your heart?
Ooh, where in the world is closest to my heart? Home will always have a special place in my heart because my family that's where my family are. So the UK, I've got a lot of pride in the UK, and especially Birmingham as well. I think Birmingham comes with a bad rep. A lot of people often slate Brum, but I'm quite proud of Brum. I think they've made some really good progress in the past few years, especially if you walk through town now. With all the Commonwealth going on, they've really spruced it up, and I think it's a great energy. It's becoming like London used to be. So I think Birmingham has always got a place in my heart. Other than that, I really have a special place for Florida in USA. So yeah, but that's probably because Harry Potter Studios is there, and Harry Potter's always close to my heart.
And that's a good question because I've asked that question before, and not many people have. Yeah. I don't think anyone's said their hometown, so
yeah,
that's a good answer to that one. And Harry Potter brings me to my next question: what does Rosanna like to do when she has free time? Because by the sounds of it, you do sound like you're very busy, which is a good thing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm the type of person that I always like to keep busy. Literally, I'm the worst person for relaxing. I can't relax. Part of me thinks I've actually got ADHD or something like that because I just don't like to relax. But when I try and switch off, you can see my PS5 in the background. I like to play games. I'm quite geeky that way. I like games. I like reading. Sci-fi as well. I'm really into apocalyptic stuff. Like, I love all of that. And I quite like journaling and writing. I've always said if I didn't go into music, I would always work either in English or with animals. So those are some of my interests, I guess, outside of music. But yeah, those are the things that I enjoy doing.
Well, that's fabulous. And thanks for your time today. I think that wraps up the interview. And we're going to get one of your tracks played now on my show. And all the best with your music as well. And you never know, we'll I always have a catch-up interview, with my special guest. So we'll get you on at a later date. Meanwhile, we've got our tracks for our listeners to enjoy in the meantime.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I do appreciate it.
It's a pleasure.